This is Mark Kleckman, Chairman of the Newbury Human Resources Board. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Diane Doyle.
Here.
John
Yes.
Lucy.
Here.
John Ferrara.
He just got disconnected. Hopefully he'll come back. I think we lost him.
Okay. Tony Antico.
Yes.
Thank you. Please let me know when John Ferrara has rejoined us.
Will do.
And we anticipate that Town Administrator Tracy Blaze will be joining us momentarily. I don't believe there are any other anticipated speakers on the agenda. So with that, let me move to the introduction to the remote meeting. Good afternoon. This open meeting of Newbury's Human Resources Board is being conducted virtually, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, and the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. The order, which you can find posted on the town's website, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not, however, ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment as it is not a public hearing. For this meeting, the Newbury Human Resources Board is convening by Zoom meeting link as posted on the agenda of the town's website. In terms of meeting materials, all of the materials for this meeting, except any executive session materials, are available on the website. And we recommend the members and the public follow the agenda as posted on the website. Let me now go to the meeting ground rules. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the list of board members, the line of board members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and be sure to state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in dialogue with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. And finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote.
John has returned, just so you know.
I'm sorry, John?
John has returned. You told me to tell you.
Okay. John Ferrari, you're with us? You can hear us?
That's Roger.
Okay, thank you, John. Let me, before we get to the first official agenda item here, let's take a moment and offer, and I think I can speak for the entire board here, offer our congratulations to John Lucy, who, as I understand it, has signed his contract and has officially become the new police chief of the town of Newbury. Is that correct, John?
It is correct. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That is a hoo-yah.
Yeah.
Very much.
May we call you chief now?
You can call me anything you want, just not late for dinner. That's the only thing.
That's well deserved, and congratulations. In all seriousness. That's wonderful. All right, let's turn to the agenda. First item on the agenda today is, as is always the case, is approval of the prior minutes from last month's meeting. Has everyone had an opportunity to read through the minutes that Diane has sent along? Thank you for that, Diane. Has everyone had an opportunity, or would you like to take a moment to read through them?
All done.
All right. Is there a motion to accept?
Motion?
Is there a second?
Second?
Let me open up to any discussion. Diane Doyle, any discussion of the minutes?
I think after I sent the draft minutes, Tony had one small revision that I think I made. Is that correct, Tony?
You had made the revision.
Yes.
That's fine.
Anything else, Diane?
I have nothing.
John Lucy, any discussion about the minutes from last month's meeting?
Nope, they look fine.
John Ferrara, same question.
Nope, they look great.
And Tony Antico, same question.
They're fine.
Nor do I. We'll take a roll call vote. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as written, Diane Doyle,
Yes.
John Lucy,
Yes.
John Ferrara,
Affirmative.
Tony Antico,
Yes.
and Mark Blackman, yes.
The only thing I
Thank you.
might add on that, Mark, is for John, I don't know if you want to keep that from the vote because he was excluded that on those minutes. I don't know if if that's something you want to exclude from that, or does it matter?
I'm sorry, John, would you repeat that, please?
Only John voting on those minutes. I just don't know if it's a structural issue or not, but he was excused from that meeting. Is that
Oh, I see.
a problem? So I don't know. I don't know what the procedure.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that question. Given the fact that John Ferrara was not at the meeting, whether he can speak to the accuracy of the minutes or not.
I just want to survive any scrutiny. I don't think there would be any, but
Yeah, no, point well taken. John Ferrara, any second thoughts on that, or?
No, I think the chief is right that I'm affirming something that I didn't participate in. Maybe it should just scrub this vote for this affirmation.
Right, so vote pass or on this particular motion?
Pass. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Ram. John Lucy, good catch on that. Thank you. Okay, next order of business. Employee issues. I'm going to ask either Diane or John to speak to any employee issues that you're aware of.
I'm not aware of any.
no employee issues. But I would also like, just to let the board know, they can send a congratulations to the new deputy chief, Patty Fisher, who is assuming my role. So she's going to be the XO, and she has signed her contracts and everything's been officialized. And on Thursday morning, she'll be sworn in as the new deputy chief.
Oh, great. Will you both be sworn in that morning,
We
John?
will. Yes, we will. Yeah.
Is that a public ceremony? Or?
In this day and age, not so much. But
Right.
Some family members will be there.
That's wonderful.
So, a quiet thing at the.
Okay, so we can feel free to pass along our congratulations
Yes,
to
absolutely.
new Deputy Chief Fisher as well.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Duly noted. Thank you very much on that. Any other employee issues to speak of?
Nope.
Personnel actions and job vacancies. I know as of last month, there were 4 positions still open at that point, although I believe, what I recall Tracy saying at one of the select board meetings, I think at least a couple of them have not been filled, Diane, is that correct?
So I'm aware that we've hired a new principal assessor who will be starting next Monday.
Right?
He's accepted the position and will be starting on October 5th. So that is a good position that we will now have filled. I know that there have been ongoing interviews with the COA for the COA director and program coordinator. Tracy would have better information. I think that's been, very active, but I don't know. I haven't been informed that it's been filled yet.
Okay.
And then I believe we have a youth services library associate that is, there was advertisement made. And again, I think there was, but I'm not aware of any of the last 3 that have been filled yet.
Okay. Speaking of that, has Tracy joined us as yet or no?
Not yet.
All right. But you said you do anticipate her joining us.
She texted me to say that she couldn't get into the meeting, but she's in another meeting right now. So
Okay.
she said that she would try to join us as soon as she was available.
Okay, well, let's hold on for further discussion of job vacancies, and assuming Tracy joins us, she can give us some updated information on that.
Okay.
Next agenda item is discrimination and/or ethics issues. Nothing that I am aware of. Can anyone speak to that?
I have nothing.
John?
Nope, nothing at all.
Okay, safety issues. I was curious, John, maybe you can speak to this. My understanding is that the protocol regarding town hall has once again changed given the developments in COVID. And I think town hall has been further opened, subject to scheduled appointments. Is that correct? There's a little bit more.
That's my understanding. I haven't had an actual official conversation with Deb Rogers or with Tracy yet, but actually, Diane, you might be able to expound on that. That's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, so Tuesday, September 8th, we open to the public by for appointments only.
Right.
That would be a situation where if the individual could not conduct their business with the town in any other fashion, whether it be through email or fax or over the phone, they could call their appropriate department that they were looking to do business with and schedule an appointment. The appointments would take place, as I understand it, in the hearing room only, with all protocols being conducted before and after such meetings. So I am not aware of any that have been scheduled. I know none with my office, but that was my understanding.
Okay. And has there been any have there been any issues as far as you know? Has it been clean? Has it been everyone follow the right protocols?
I'm in the hearing room right now, and I have not been made aware of any issues. And again, I don't know what other departments have had meetings or if they've had meetings.
Right.
But nothing's come to my attention that it's been a problem.
Okay, good.
So.
No news is good news then.
True.
Okay, well, hopefully if Tracy's able to join us, she can speak to that issue as well. Other business, the org chart. So just as a reminder, a couple months ago, I had brought to the attention of both Town Administrator Blaze and the Select Board that Newbury's Human Resources Board was standing ready, willing, and able to take on any special project, any ad hoc requests that the town administration or the select board might have of us. Wasn't anything in particular that we had in mind, but just rather we wanted to, make town leadership aware of the fact that that as we have done in the past, if there are projects of a human resources or a personnel nature that they felt they required help with, or they would like us to take on, we're more than happy to do so. And as a result of that request, the only thing that came back to us through Town Administrator Blaze was the opportunity to update the town's organizational chart. And if you recall further, we spoke about this briefly at our last meeting. The decision was made because John Ferrara was not with us at the last meeting, not to do any scheduling of a subcommittee, not to fully commit to the project till I had had an opportunity to speak to John to get him up to speed, which I believe I did on the phone a week or so after. Did I not, John? Is that your recollection?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And I wrote you a reply letter.
And so I think it's safe to say that John is in concert with the rest of us, that it would be a good project. We talked about both a front page of an organizational chart to make sure that it's accurate, it's current, that it has all the right boxes in the right places. And then we also talked about, through John Lucy's suggestion, is that perhaps we could have a click on second page, which would help amplify both for town employees, but perhaps even more importantly for the public, a brief description of what each of these entities does in the town of Newbury, whether it's somebody in an appointed position, an elected position, an ad hoc committee, a volunteer board, as the HR board is, not chapter and verse, but perhaps a paragraph or a couple sentences that would help, if you would, a layperson understand what each of the person or each of the entities' responsibilities in town government are, so that they can get easy access. They know who to contact for certain questions they have. And John Lucy, I don't want to speak out of turn. I think you said that was something that you might be able to help with, something you're familiar with technologically. to be able to have that secondary page or the backup page, if you will, spotlighting some key components of each of these jobs.
Yep, I can do that.
Okay, are we all in agreement that that's a project that we'd like to take on? Diane Doyle?
One quick question.
Yes.
You had indicated that this was going to be an update of the organizational chart. That means there must be one existing.
Correct.
Is there?
I did. Yeah, I did, and my apologies. I neglected to get that to the rest of the board through Diane. I do have an email which has the current organizational chart, which I will send to everybody right after this meeting. I also got an update from Julie, the executive administrator, with what looks like an update of the front page of. It's a 2-page document. The first is the actual org chart with all the blocks. And then the second, the backup supporting document is all the boards and committees. And what's nice about it is that, as you'll see when you get it, is that it breaks down boards and committees, who was appointed, who was elected, what is an ad hoc committee versus a formal board or committee. And I've done a little bit of homework on this, looking at org charts in different towns, and they're fairly consistent in that regard. The good ones, the ones that are fleshed out a little bit, do break down either color-coded, or they break down with a certain number of asterisks in each block. Which of these positions is elected, which of these positions is appointed, which of these positions is a volunteer board, so forth and so on. Yes, I will make sure that I get that to everybody's attention, so that assuming we're able to set up a subcommittee to tackle this project before we end this meeting today, everyone will have access to that current org chart. So as an example, the org chart that I'm looking at, the current one, it has a block for fire engineers in it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that in the past year, I think the town has done away with
Correct.
the Board of Fire Engineers, given the recomposition of the fire department. So that's just one example of something that needs to be updated. I'm sure there are other blocks in there as well. Does that answer your question, Tony?
Yes, thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Diane, other thoughts you might have?
No, I guess just look forward to seeing the draft that's already in place, and I guess taking it from there with next steps.
Yeah. I'll make sure I get those to everybody's attention immediately. My bad. John Lucy, thoughts you have?
Yeah, when I get that from you, what I'll do is I'll just start the behind the scenes stuff of setting up the structure so it's easily edited. How you guys fill in the blocks and and all that, I'll just have the placeholders for, I'll just get the text part done now. I can do that now, and then we can easily edit to what the committee wants to do. Yeah, as soon as I'll get some sort of structure idea.
Thank you, John. John Ferrara, your thoughts?
Yeah, my thought is that it's a worthy project. It's an important one.
Yep.
And we need to make it user-friendly so that 6,000 plus citizens in the Triune can get a sense of just how well-run this town is.
Yep.
And give them a sense of the departments and the volunteer level is remarkable. And give them a sense that beyond the hardworking employee groups, the department heads and all of the employees listed, there's a whole lot of folks on the boards and committees that are doing this stuff pro bono. Mm-hmm. And a short description and mission statement for each department, though I suspect the mission statements are available already on the Newbury website.
That's a good point. I haven't researched it. I don't know if each board or each department has its own mission statement as we created a couple of years ago, but that's neither here nor there. But okay, so it sounds like I'm in agreement here as well. Unfortunately, I assume Tracy has not joined us yet. And my assumption is that this may have been a subject she wanted to talk about. I didn't think she was going to join us today, but so we might give her another moment or so. Let's talk about it.
Okay, go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
That's all right. Subcommittee. There's no magic number, as we know, in terms of a subcommittee. It could be 2 of us, could be 3 of us. I would recommend that we coordinate this with Tracy. Typically, this is the kind of subject where we would like to have the authority, if you will. In some cases, it's a hiring manager. In this particular case, it would be the town administrator, since she's the person responsible for the creation of an organizational chart for the town. I'd recommend that we work alongside Tracy to schedule a time that's mutually convenient for everyone. I don't imagine this would be a lengthy or an onerous project. It's probably going to take an hour or so of time to make sure we have all the right blocks in the right places, and then do the backup supporting documentation. So with that in mind, is there anyone who would like to serve on the subcommittee, like a volunteer?
I'm perfectly happy to do that.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you, John.
Sign sign me up, Mark.
Thank you, Tony. Okay, John, and Tony.
I'm happy to
And
serve.
I'm sorry?
I said I'll serve whatever needs to happen.
Okay.
Whatever you need.
Well, I'll leave that to you, Diane. It's certainly, I don't think it's going to require 4, but that's,
Okay.
the more the merrier.
All right.
Okay, so if Tracy is not, well, I don't think there are any other subjects on our agenda.
I actually have one, Mark. I actually do have one. If you want,
Diane, please.
I just texted her to see if she thinks she still will be joining us.
Okay,
So, all right, just to close that out. So on next steps, we'll try to coordinate a time or getting documents out to people for review and so forth.
yes, I'll get the document out immediately. Both the original as well as what Julie sent me, which is a kind of a one-page update. It does not include the supporting documents of, the various boards and committees, but that's okay.
Okay.
It'll be a good starter point for us. And I would recommend that someone on the subcommittee, I will leave it to which of you would like to do this, would need to coordinate with Tracy. No sense scheduling a date at this point without knowing what her availability is. Would someone like to take on that responsibility to coordinate a time for the subcommittee meeting?
I'm happy to do it.
All right, John, thank you.
Yep.
Why don't we leave it to you then, once I get the emails to you, for you to coordinate a date and time with Tracy, with Tony, with Chief Lucy, and with Diane, if she would like to participate as well, to schedule a time, hopefully sometime over the next couple of weeks where it's mutually convenient for folks. And so we'll have hopefully something to report upon in our October meeting.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds
I don't
good.
think we need to take a vote on that, but if that's amenable to everyone.
Okay.
All right, so we'll leave that to John Ferrara. Thank you, and it'll be reflected in the meeting minutes. Is there any other new business to discuss?
I do have something.
Diane, please.
Okay, so we have received a client advisory from our town council regarding the new approved legal holiday of June 19th, known as Juneteenth Independence Day.
Right.
On July 24th of 2020, the governor signed into law. The act includes June 19th as a legal holiday. So what the town must do at this point is the town offices must be closed on June 19th or provide a comparable day off. We also need to contact our unions and let them know, but it will also require an amendment to our personnel policy bylaws to include the holiday as the list of approved holidays.
Okay.
So in that vein, I've contacted them back to ask them for the legal notification that needs to go to the union. And then we will just need to make the modification. So if we might want to just take a look at the holiday section of the personnel policy manual
Right.
and determine what changes need to be made. If it's just adding it to the list of approved holidays,
Right.
then that's fine. But we'll need to make that amendment and just update it.
Okay. So it sounds like until such time as the union is notified, it may be premature to actually change the bylaw, the personnel bylaw.
Well, if this is what it states, your town should also contact its unions, and while you are not required to bargain over whether you can implement the holiday, you're obligated to bargain its impact on its members' wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of its employment. So I believe on Wednesday, I will have the legal notification or the notification that needs to go to the unions. But I'm
Right,
just giving you a heads up that we will need to just make a modification to the personnel policy manual.
okay. Well, it sounds like irrespective of what decision is made relative to the union contracts, this is broader than the unions. This is something that, I mean, the town has no say in the matter. This is now a state holiday, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's no wiggle room. It's just a matter of making sure that we put the right language in the bylaw reflecting it. Okay. All right. Is there a recommendation as to whether we do something official on this today or wait until?
I guess I would just wait, and maybe what I can do is I'll take a look at the holiday section and maybe get that one section out once I've gotten the remaining information from the town council.
Okay.
I'll work with Tracy and I'll get that out to everybody. And I don't know if this has already been brought to the Board of Selectmen. But I would anticipate that if and when it would go to the Board of Selectmen, we would just say that amendments have been made to the personnel policy to accommodate this change.
Right. Yeah, I'm not aware that it's been part of a select board agenda over the last couple of months. And it also sounds like this is a holiday that will be celebrated in June, is it?
June 19th.
Okay, so there's no real time sensitivity to it. I mean, this is something we can handle at our next meeting once the union has been notified, once we've looked at the language of the bylaw.
Correct.
We can move towards an official announcement of it at that point.
Correct. I'm just putting it on your radar that we would need to just make that update
Okay, and if we'll make sure that's part of the agenda
for next
for
month.
the October meeting. Thank you, Diane.
Okay, I'll keep you posted.
Any other discussion on that? John Lucy,
Nope.
Tony Antico,
No, Mark?
John Ferrara?
No further. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that, Diane. Did anyone have other new business to address?
Mark, I have one question.
Please, Tony. Yep.
I was looking at the employee rights that we have in our personnel policy. It's reflected in the personnel policy, but what it is it's a federal right relative to during the COVID timeframe, there are certain rights and expanded medical leave, etc. And I think, and what it is just like a one-page from the Wage and Hour Division of the United States Department of Labor. And I think what we should do is to make it town specific. And in spite of the fact that this is still listed to expire by its terms, I believe, on, I could be wrong here, but I think at the end of the year. So I don't think there's any problem with just relying on that document. But they also, but again, I think it should be related to, it's the response to the Families First Coronavirus Response Act. And again, it's federal.
Right.
And I don't know whether we should just accept that. I mean, obviously it's still legal, or do we make an entry into the personnel policy manual relative to this situation? I know we have them in there, employee items on employee rights,
Right.
sick leave, et cetera, and this might make it, if someone wants to look at it, I think the first place they might go is not going to be the Department of Labor. They're going to go on the personnel policy manual.
Right.
So I think we have to make sure that is reflected either by putting a copy of that in there, or by writing the town's own.
Right.
So
Okay.
I think that's we should look at.
Mark, I think I might be able to speak a little bit to this.
Okay.
So back in April, or I believe whenever the document that Tony is referencing, back when the federal mandates came down as far as time off, additional family first cares, the FFCR regulations and so forth, we actually were required to send our employees a copy of the notification, which we did, I believe, back in April. I mean, gosh, now looking at the last 7 months, it starts to all blur together. But there was a requirement that we notify the employees of their rights under the Families First Cares Act.
Right.
Also, to expound on that, we also have to post it. We have ours posted. I'm looking at the actual document you're talking about. It has to be posted in a conspicuous place in which the employees have access, reasonable access.
Right. And I believe we have it in our copy room, which is our employee area. But we did send the notification to all employees what their rights were, and have continued to monitor situations. I mean, as far as any people that may be out because they have children that are home from school, or
Right.
any other circumstances that would require them not to be in the office. And as far as I know, we do not currently have anyone that has sought relief under the federal mandate.
And also to your point, Tony, I think the spirit, correct me if I'm wrong, the spirit is just the notification of this statute that, or this document. What we might want to, I don't have the right in front of me, so I don't know what the verbiage is, but we might want to just incorporate into the verbiage of the bylaws, another section that says, and all other FFLA compliances, future compliances. Just make reference to that, because there's always going to be something. It's always going to change. To kind of make it a living, breathing document, which I think we're trying to do, is making the reference to in compliance with all FFLA regulations and postings. And then you can even in there say, refer for your references. You can say refer to the designated posting area for FFLA documentation, which every place should have. So, I mean, that might be the way through them looking at the policies and procedures to give them reference without having to change the policies and procedures for every change that is made,
Good point, John. I was thinking the same thing, and I'd be hard pressed to think that it doesn't include that, but we could take a look.
That it doesn't what, Diane?
That it doesn't already encapsulate anything and everything that would come up as far as a federally mandated leave policy, or a policy that would affect the employees. We'll take a look at that section, but I would think that would be in there. I mean,
and we might want to, just to keep on running with this, and to Tony's point, we might want to make sure that the policies do instruct the department heads to designate whatever area it is in their workplace where these postings will be. And then when we make reference to these posting areas, the employee should know, or should be, it should so.
Right.
Could be
So
something.
the working assumption is they're federal mandates. They are not different than, more or less stringent than, a state or a town mandate. Everyone needs to follow the same rules here,
Right.
correct?
correct.
So I think Tony makes a good point. Ease of access is always a good thing. Right. And so I would think that there's no reason why we wouldn't want to, as Tony recommends, add this to the personnel policy for easy access. But whether it would require us to make the language town of Newbury specific, I don't think we would need to do that, given the fact that, again, it is federal, and every town and municipality has to comply with it in the same way. So unless we're missing something, I don't know that it needs to be, that the language needs to be Newbury.
It might be more inadvertent non-compliance. It might be where, this isn't something we're dealing with all the time. It could get, it's just a place, I think, a place where the employees know they can make sure that they're getting, the services or their accommodations that they need.
Right.
And Tony, I don't know if I don't want to speak for you, but is that kind of the spirit of it?
No, what I would suggest, that as you were speaking about, that there is a reference put in there relative to it and just listing the highlights. But then if, as you indicated, it is very, very important that everyone be aware of that. I don't think there's any, in spite of the fact that you've got places posted, doesn't guarantee that that message is going to go to everybody.
Right.
They might look at it and say, oh, that's great. Why can't we just include an addendum to the policy, personnel policy manual, and it's there for everyone to look at. I don't think you have to rewrite
Right, and it's,
this in town terms. It's there.
and this makes it accessible 24/7. Should someone be home wanting to read read the language,
Right,
read the date,
right.
they can click on it. It's on the website. I think that makes perfectly good
Yeah.
sense. I think it's a good suggestion. So the language doesn't, the language in the mandate doesn't have to be Newbury specific, but we should have some reference to it, as Tony suggests, as an addendum to the personnel policy.
Right.
Let me take a roll call on that in terms of vote. Diane, Lucy, would you agree with that?
Diane, Lucy?
Oh, sorry, Diane Doyle.
The best of both
I
worlds.
guess there are more congratulations in order here. I don't know.
Well, truth be known, I do know a Diane Lucy. That's where it came from. Sorry, Diane Doyle. Diane Doyle.
Well, my two added thoughts would be, I mean, where this expires December 31st, and we're adding in a specific, I mean, we could add the reference, but I think it's going to expire at some point
Well, or it's likely to be renewed.
or renewed. Okay. So we can certainly look to add the reference as we have listed many of the others, FMLA and certain others. We could definitely list the, but the other thing that came to mind when you were all talking, I did, as I said, every single employee received a copy of that notification back when it first came out. We were required to send every employee a copy of the legislation. I think we did it as an attachment to their paycheck. But the one thing that I didn't do was put it up on the human resources page of the website.
Is it also part of the new employee packet?
We've had a couple of new employees that have started and it has not been in that
Yeah,
packet.
so that's, and so, as a catch-all, to have it on the website, to have it as part of the personnel policy is kind of a fail-safe.
Yep.
If they can't access it any other way, or if they've lost it, or, to have it as part of the personnel policy is probably a good idea. So,
Okay.
Tony, thanks for the idea.
So maybe I misunderstood. So are we talking about having this document referred to in the policies, or just in the in the website?
I think Tony was talking about having it as an addendum to the personnel policy in town, that at least temporarily, if people had questions about the federal mandate relative to COVID, that this is where it's located.
Yeah.
Am I correct on that, Tony?
So, all right, so,
Tony, you muted?
I just asked him to unmute.
Okay.
and then when it expires, so in other words, are we writing and rewriting the policies, or this addendum, we're referring to it and then we're taking it out? And I'm just confused on that. I'm not sure why it would even affect the policies at all, other than to reference, like, I mean, putting it on the website, handing out to new employees because it is applicable to them right now. That makes sense, but this is such a shelf life thing. I don't know if we have that kind of thing in the policies. I don't know. It feels weird to me.
I didn't think that we were talking about an actual rewrite of a policy, but rather just stating at the back end of the policy as an addendum, as an asterisk, that this is the location of the language for the federal mandate, nothing more than that. And I think it's also, I think a reasonable assumption is that this may not be as temporary as we'd like it to be. I think the likelihood that between now and 90 days from now, we're no longer going to need this document is pretty slim.
I think,
We muted Tony's, there he goes.
I think he's still muted.
Yeah, I just asked him to unmute.
I'm just having, I mean, obviously, I mean, if I'm being honest, his point is very, very, very appropriate, very well taken. I see that. I just don't see where it has where it should be anything to do with an addendum or anything in the policies. If anything, just the department heads have to make reference to a posting. And as far as accessing it electronically on the website, it's so easy to put up a link, and then when everything's done, you take down the link, to that document. And then we never have to worry about it again, because let's just say in March, it's, this is all wrapped up, it's done. Now we have a dead link on our policy that to remember to get out. It's just housekeeping that's kicking down the road that we really don't need.
That's a point well taken. So in other words, it can be on the website, but it doesn't have to be inserted into the policy itself.
Exactly. That's why I feel. But because maybe I'm taking a little piece of Tony's point. I think it's very, very important to formalize. Every department head has to have a location that is pointed to within the department for such documents.
Okay.
For important documents like that, and then that can be referred to in the policy.
Okay.
You refer to the location designated by your director for important documentations, and
Okay. Understood.
there's some personal responsibility that has to be incurred. That they have to check and make sure that that's updated now and then. Make they're aware. So that's just my feeling.
Okay. Tony, your thoughts about the importance of inserting it into the policy versus having it as a separate link on the website?
Hold on, Tony.
On mute.
Tony, you need to unmute yourself.
Unmute.
There you go. All right, there we go.
No, I wouldn't have any problem with that, but I think it should be in there as a document itself. And we also have reference in our policy manual to quite a few federal benefit programs that apply to all town employees. And hopefully this will be short-lived. I think we all hope that's the case. But if somebody, again, my point being, if somebody does have questions and they have not been able to see it, or they didn't see it, or whatever, I don't think, and you're referencing all different kinds of other federal programs that apply to, why not this? And these are serious times, and hopefully everyone will know about them and take advantage of them if necessary. So
it's a consistency matter.
Yeah, that's really it. It's hopefully everyone in those mailings or postings, they got them. But I think this puts an added asterisk on this availability, on this program.
So Tony, you're just suggesting that we put the link listed with all the other links so that people have access to it?
In the personnel policy manual, where we have, I forget exactly the terminology, but it's the things from the Department of Labor we have in there, overtime, et cetera, et cetera. So
Okay.
That's all.
That's
All
an
right.
easy, that's an easy add that we can do that, but you're not suggesting that we add a section describing the policy where you're just adding a.
No, just add like one little paragraph,
That's easy.
and include that in the addendum and stuff, where you actually have this thing, the form.
Right. Okay, John Ferrari, your thoughts?
No, I think they both made good points. It's an organic element in town and federal activity, and it's
Right.
changing daily. And I think we should just post it. It should be ubiquitous. It should be on the website. It should be in the personnel manual,
Right.
so that the directors of each of the departments make a full measure of announcement, and make sure that everybody knows the language is there and the opportunity to understand it. And have it on
Okay.
both sites.
All right, so let's see if we can sort of synthesize all this conversation here. So we need to make a motion, and let me see if I can simplify. So the motion would be to do a couple things. One is to add this new federal mandate specific to COVID as a link, consistent with how we've added other links to the personnel policy bylaw. make sure that this gets included for as long as it's necessary. And secondly, to ensure that every current employee of the town of Newbury, including those who have been hired subsequent to the original passing out of this distribution of this document, have it as part of their personnel package. And that thirdly, that the department heads, per John Lucy's suggestion, department heads are all consistent and aware of where this needs to be posted, so that on the fly, if somebody's in town hall or in the library or at the DPW, they know where they can access it. Does that capture the three elements of what we've talked about?
I think so.
Yes.
I would say so, yeah.
All right, well, then I so move what I just suggested. Is there a second?
Can you say that one more time? No.
Yeah. I'll move that we do the following. One, we make sure that a link to this new COVID federal mandate is listed along with other such similar links in the town's personnel policy. That two, we ensure that every employee, every current employee and future employee of the town of Newbury has received or will receive this as part of their employment package. And to the extent that some recent hires maybe not have it, make sure that we get it to them ASAP. And thirdly, that town managers are required to have this document publicly posted at such a location where it's easily accessible, easily seen, easily read by the employee population as a fail-safe, if you will. Those are the three elements of the motion.
I have to put my time out for a second.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
reason why
let's
is
get to
because-
discussion.
What?
Let's get a second and then we'll go to discussion.
Oh, okay, all right, right.
Thank you. Just protocol. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
All right, now let's open it up to discussion. John Lucy.
The one glaring question that we forgot to ask ourselves are, our employees, are they eligible? There's, when you look at the eligible employees, it says certain public sector employees. Now, I'm not sure what that means. Diane, do you know? Have you done any dumpster diving on that to find out what that means?
I believe we had town council take a look at this, and our employees do meet the criteria that are eligible.
All right, good.
So, yes.
All,
Okay, I
of
mean,
them, all town employees?
I'm hesitating because I'm wondering if I believe it's all employees.
Okay, because the verbiage says, and just not to throw another wrench into the monkey here, but it says certain public sector employees. So in general, employees of private sector employers with fewer than 500 employees and certain public sector employees are eligible. That's what they have for the eligibility. I don't know what that means. So,
I believe we have, I believe I have town council recommendation on this.
okay, good.
okay.
Yeah, I was concerned about that too, because it said certain,
Right.
so.
Well, obviously, the town has gotten licensed to distribute this mandate already. So the fact, so we're not doing anything differently. We're just making sure it has wider circulation.
And it's not moot because if anything, we've extended the meeting long enough to get Tracy on board.
Is Tracy with us?
He's not with us yet.
Okay. All right. So we had a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, let's take a roll call vote. Diane Doyle,
Yes.
John Lucy,
I say yes, but do we want to say contingent upon approval by town council on that certain word? Do we want to add that to the motion?
that would be fine. As a security, as a safety matter, sure. That makes sense.
Okay,
Contingent on.
yes.
I go back to Diane. You okay with the contingency language?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. John Lucy,
Yes.
Tony Antico,
Yes.
John Ferrara,
Yes.
and Mark Blackman, yes. Thank you. And I'm assuming that Tracy has not joined us yet. And given that, I think we have no other business on the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that
Motion.
Second,
Second.
we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well.
We'll see you.
Thanks
Bye.
very much.